Hey there, if you liked the video, please click that like button. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell. That way you'll get notified every time I post a new video. Alright, so I'm in my 2001 Toyota Rav4 here, and the other night when I was driving home, I noticed that these lights here on the temperature control, like just this section, was not lit up, and neither was the lower vents and the defrost and lower vents and defrost. These were all unlit as well. So I kind of figured it was a burned out bulb, mostly because I've already taken this all apart once and got the burned out bulbs out. So, but I figured if it were a wiring issue, I'd have probably lost all the lights in that module there. So it was a burned out bulb. So I took it apart, got the bulbs out, and I ordered some new ones off of Amazon. These are LED, and then they also come with the little sockets too. I don't know if you can see those, but I'll put that link in the description. I got these from Amazon. They were like $6, I think. So to take this apart, first thing you're gonna need to do is take your H5 Allen head and then remove your screws on the cover here, and go ahead and take those out. And then I have something a little different here. This phone holder I printed, switched out with a Phillips, but yours will just be another H5 there. All right, and then once that's loose, I'll take this little bezel out from around the radio. This is a aftermarket stereo I put in. I made a video on that. I'll put that up in the right corner there. And then you can pull this cover off. It just pulls straight out. There's a clip there, and then there's one here and one here. And then what you'll have is two Phillips screws, one here, one here. And before this module will come out, there's a couple cables that run from these control knobs down under the dash. I'll show you those, how you have to disconnect those under there. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. You have to disconnect these cables, this one and this one. And so I figured out the easiest way to do it is, you can see here there's a little tab there. So if you just squeeze that tab, and then you can just pull the cable off. So you can just squeeze that tab in with some pliers or something, and then slide the cable off. It's really easy to do, but it's just hard to do with one hand. So it's just like that. I'm gonna do the second one, and then we'll finish taking it apart there. So once you've gotten those loose off of there, then you can just pull down on these metal clips a little bit and take the cables out of there. This one pushes up, just kind of squeeze it apart, and then you can pull those out, and then that whole module will come out a lot easier after those are loose. All right, now with those disconnected, you can kind of get the lower part of this and pull straight out. Again, it has some clips like that other ring did. And then there's going to be a wire here. You can squeeze and release that. Squeeze that top part in, and then you can release that. There's one more wire underneath it there, one more cable right there. That one's a little bit harder to release. So I took these channel lock pliers and grabbed a hold of it, and then you squeeze. It squeezes from the bottom side. So there's a release on the back side of it. You just squeeze that in and wiggle it out. For some reason that one is quite tight, but once you get that off, then you can pull the whole module out. And two of the light bulbs are right here and here. The ones that were burned out on mine are actually underneath this plastic cover. So to get that off, first thing you're going to need to do is pull the knobs off. They just pull straight out. Oops, almost dropped it there. They just pull straight out. So pull all three of those off, just like that. And then the one in the middle, that one is a little bit differently. It just kind of presses in. And then on the back side, you'll see a screw here, one here, one here, one here, and then there's also one in here and one in here. So you're gonna have to, depending on which bulbs burn out on yours, you'll have to take those out if it's the ones underneath. So I'm gonna remove those real quick, and I'll be back. All right, so I got those 6 screws out, and just a little forewarning here so you don't do what I did. Once you split this apart, it comes apart just right there. These 3 little buttons will actually be loose. They can just fall out anywhere, so just keep an eye on those. Make sure they don't fly around. And then this lifts out of there like that. And then also this plastic piece here slides over the top of this knob on the right here, just like that. So make sure you put that back in when you're ready. So the ones that were burned out on mine was this one here, lamp 3, and then lamp 5. Since I'm in here though, I'm gonna go ahead and replace all of them. I'm gonna do the ones down in here, these ones, this one here, and then all 3 on the front here. There's one more in the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace those. But to get to these ones on the circuit board, you have to take the board loose from this plastic casing. So there's just 4 screws, one here, 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 and here, Phillips screws. So just release those, and then this board will come loose, and you can get to these bulbs on the back side there. I'm gonna take those out. I'll be right back. All right, so once those 4 screws are out, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off and set it aside for a minute. This whole board will kind of just rotate forward, and you don't have to take it completely loose since you just need to get far enough to get the bulbs in. That's probably enough room there. The bulbs come out by just a 1/4 turn twist. So like this one, you twist it that way, and then you can press it out like that, and then get it from the back.
From here on out, the rest of the video gets very MacGyverish. If you're uncomfortable with this, please click away now. Also, please don't, because I really need the views.
Okay, so lo and behold, this is the new socket, and these are the old sockets. So as you can see, the new socket is much bigger diameter, so it didn't fit. But because I'm lazy and don't want to return something and wait 2 more days for light bulbs to come in again, what I did was take a little razor blade and cut around the bottom side of that little circuit board, and then you can unbend these wires, and then the LED will pull out of that plastic socket. And then I put it in one of the old sockets, stuck the wires through, and wrapped them around like they were with the old bulbs. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide this bulb in, but before I do that, I gotta take this back out because like I said before, that LED bulb won't fit through that hole. So I'm gonna go ahead and just unbend these wires real quick. I'm gonna put the old socket, I just flipped that board forward, the old socket in here, and I can't click it all the way in though because I gotta get wires wrapped. So I'm gonna stick the LED in and wrap the wires, and then I can push it in and twist it. All right, so I got the socket in there and then the bulb on the other side, and then I just gotta twist these wires down and around those little hooks to the front side because the actual connection is made right here on the back side of the circuit board. So I'm gonna twist those around. All right, so I got those wires twisted around, and then I can just press it in here, give it the little 1/4 turn clockwise from the back, and then that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of put this back together a little bit here. I'm just gonna slide this circuit board back down here and slide this one back over and give this a quick test to make sure that it's gonna light up. So I'm just gonna kind of temporarily plug the plugs in. I'm not gonna click them in. I'm gonna plug them in to where they make circuit, and then put the key in and give this a little test here, making sure everything's kind of back where it should be. Plug it to, whoa, that's some air. Okay, plug it to on, turn on the bulb. So it didn't light up, but that could be because of the way LEDs are. So I'm gonna flip it. I'm just gonna take it out of the socket and turn it the other way and see if that'll work. Because it did say if it doesn't light up that you have to reverse the polarity. So what I did was just, you can see it lights up there. You see it light up? So what I did was just press the socket out and then turn it so that it, 180 from what it was, and then put it back in and twist it, and that way it lights up. It was just because it was the wrong polarity. So that'll work then. I'm gonna go ahead and do that with the rest of the bulbs and get them all in there, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so the best way I found to separate these bulbs is to cut around. So what happened with a couple of them, the heads popped off and the wires didn't come with it. So I just decided to cut around this little hub here. My dad gave me an idea to do that, and that worked a little bit better so that the glue doesn't get stuck in there and the wires just break off. So if you just cut around that hub, then it comes out a little bit better. All right, so I got the rest of the bulbs in, 5 of them there. And I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick test here like I did before. Put the plugs in, just see if I got the polarities right. It's 50-50, there's a chance. Okay, so looks like these 2 and this one need to be reversed. All right, so let's test it one more time. I switched the polarity on those ones, and there we go. You can see there, the sun's kind of blocking it though, but I think you can probably see all 5 of them lit up there, and they are bright, so that should be nice. I just gotta kind of set this back circuit board back down there, and then press this one down and get it seated, and then put in those 4 screws again. All right, so I got all the bulbs in there. I actually ended up putting one behind the clock too. Probably wouldn't recommend doing that because it's hard to do, but and then I put the 4 screws back in. So when you put the module back on here, you got to kind of just wiggle these buttons into place. They actually kind of snap into place. They have little clips, so you have to, they snap onto these little press buttons here. So, all right, so I got the 6 screws back in on the back side of this panel. You have to make sure when you push these buttons in the first time, they will click. They'll snap into place. They actually clip over the little micro switches. And I've had trouble both times I've taken this apart with the flashers. What it'll do is the flashers, you have to push it a little bit harder, it seems, to get it to click on to the micro switch. But if it doesn't actually snap on, what it'll do is like just any little wiggle of this will make the flashers come on, because when the button's clipped onto the micro switch, it has a spring behind the button which pulls the micro switch all the way out so it doesn't engage. But if it's not clipped on, then the micro switch just wiggles in there, and then it'll turn on the flashers just at random. So I got all that back together. Just make sure that those are clipped into place, and then don't forget to put this little plastic clear slide back over this one before you put that together. And then I've already threaded my cables down behind there, down that way. I didn't clip them on yet though. And then I'm gonna plug in the bottom cable first here, clip it in, and the top one, clip it in, and then just gently put this back into place. Push it in on those 2 clips at the bottom, and then you can put your Phillips screws in back in here. And then you can go ahead and put your knobs back on, clip those in. You just clip them in, they're real easy. You have to make sure you get the little keys right. It has a little key there, so you have to slide that over the key right and push it in. And then this one. And then just to make sure I didn't mess up here, I'm gonna turn on all the lights, make sure everything lights up. And as you can see there, everything lights up good. All right, then you can go ahead and slide this cover back on. Get your H5 driver, put those screws back on. Go ahead and put this back on. Also, don't forget to clip your cables back over where they go, and then clip them back into that slot up there. That, slide this one back on, clip it in. And I'm gonna start the car real quick. Make sure the vents work and everything. Lights work. Heat works. Alright, so that'll do it for this video. I hope this helps somebody. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. You can check out some of my other videos right here. And if you want to, you can subscribe by clicking here.